coming up to 3-0, which would be, the highest streak held at the moment, I believe, or maybe PSG at 3-0
At the moment, currently, yes, PSG are still 3 wins on the road, but not overall, right? We've had teams have like, what, 5, 6 on the bounce.
Right.
So either way, it's going to be an exciting time for them. Are you rallying for which underdog, right? Do you want to see SEM9 do 3 games in a row, the perfect weekend in a week 3 affair? Or would you want to see Impunity that are, well, 4-4, continue to play devil's advocate?
We will see. In Mission going for the very aggressive page. Airy was scorched, so definitely not messing around. S9, the double Hail of Blades bot does come through. And Pyke is a champ that we're always very excited to see, right? It's a champion that you kind of don't see as often in pro play because he is, very reliant on snowballing. But at the same time, I feel like the people that are good at Pyke definitely make it work in competitive. Like, it's looked good pretty much every time it gets played. And one thing I really like about Pyke as well is, again, it's kind of that non-committal pick potential, right? Like, you can look the hook. If you miss it, normally you can just E away and it's fine. And if it hits, you can actually follow up on it.
Yeah, definitely very different to the likes of, Leona and a Nautilus. But I'd say it's kind of akin to a Fresh that you can sort of decide in the moment, do I want this or do I not? I'm actually really interested in how the spot lane's going to play because I can't say I've ever really seen a Zeri and an Ashe as a pairing. So I'm curious to see how they can find a way to be aggressive, to be frustrating to deal with, into the amount of raw damage, more so than anything that Avaris, obviously you'd imagine, is going lethality to complement that of the same in a Pyke too.
Yeah, I think it is really interesting, right? Because Ashe is the kind of champion that can potentially 1v2 a lane, right? And kind of like make up for Zeri not being perhaps the strongest in some of these early game trades. At the same time, though, I feel like if a hook actually lands, like so, so flashed away from Nature, they do deal a bit of damage off the back end. Because has that sustain, and now no flash on Nature with Sejuani in the area. If you pay attention to the minimap, there is potential, I think, for Sej to look for something here.
Yeah, they're looking for it a little bit everywhere.
He's
right
dead.
now. A fight happening in the mid lane too. There's the stun overlapped. You've got no flash. You've got no chance to survive. It really is as simple as that one there, Shock. First blood goes the way of SEM9.
Yeah, and I mean, that's an amazing first blood. That was even with, it was pretty much just a 2v2 kill. Fear didn't end up being involved at all. Obviously was in the area in case they needed it, but really not a good start for the Ashe support.
And that really is your worst case scenario, right? When you have these classic matchups of a hard harass enchanter, quote unquote, that I guess Ashe is in this situation up against the heavy engage. Yes, whilst you're annoying to deal with, you make one wrong move, your flash is burnt. You make another, and you are just going to be too squishy to survive. Back to the lane they go, though. And straight in with a pain and punishment again, but it is Atlan receiving more than they are dealing.
Yeah, taking a lot of damage there. Bot lane has a massive lead right now. CS as well as a kill. Let's take a look at the replay. So I think now Nature without flash. It's hard, right? Because you kind of have to pressure something. At the same time, though, the hook, as soon as it lands, he's just dead. And also wise by carriers to just hold the flash for so long, hold the hook for so long, let Nature juke himself to death.
Yeah. That's a classic, isn't it, right? Where you're juking so much and you realize, well, you just outplayed yourself more than anyone.
Now, Varus comes back with the Dirk already, very early into the game. And I think also the Dirk Varus up against a lane that doesn't have any sustain is big, right? A lot of the time we've seen the Zeri go for the Vamp Scepter very early. He doesn't have it. Mission.
Keres. Oh, this time doesn't hold his own. Mission a little bit too clean with it.
Yeah, good nerve by Mission to hold the flash there and just juke that out. Because I feel like if you lose the flash there, obviously you would save your life, but the problem is you would lose so much pressure in the next 5 minutes. And Mission, he can't afford that. He needs to be able to pressure this lane for his team. And TP has already come out of Calumnia, back to the lane. Keres, he might look again. Is spotted out. You have to feel if another hook lands, it could potentially be, maybe not a kill, but a lot of chunk. And yeah, just denying them completely off the wave. Well, yeah, he's doing fine on top side. I feel like the Akali Jax matchup, it's almost like Gragas in a way. You're not really expecting to ever kill the Jax, but Jax can't really ever dive you or kill you, and you've got really good team fighting. And obviously, like you synergize well with Sej. Driver though, he's looking.
He certainly is looking, but it might be all he sees as he pokes his head in and goes, well, that's an auto attack. That's about it. Alan dashing into it. Thumbs up indeed, carries. It was quite nicely read there. A little bit of Mad Life throwback to the old Blitzcrank days, if I do say so myself, as Alex is getting it done. It wasn't just a bit of window shopping. They actually went for the full purchase.
Yeah, they actually ended up getting one. Just kind of surprising. I think S9 perhaps screening too hard for the wave of mission. This is round 2. Can he juke it again? He does not.
He's hold his flash this time. Oh, he walks out of the seismic shove.
Oh
okay, mission. I mean, I don't know what
confident.
I don't know what word to use. I mean, is flash not bound, or is he just too good?
Yeah, that was really, really clean. I think certainly there, I was expecting the flash, but did have the Merc treads. So has the movement speed and the tenacity, was able to get out just in time and jukes forward. I mean, so confident. Really well played by him. Is up CS despite being ganked twice. Mission can't do enough in this game.
And so nice for YJY. I mean, the product of all of this is that he gets the solo farm as well. Doesn't really feel under too much pressure to lose a 1v2, and it just unlocks carries to roam the map. Obviously, it's only going to get worse and compound further once level 6 is there for the resets on those executes, but it's a really great start here for S9.
Yeah, and I think Mission, he's probably going to be complaining about the support difference pretty soon, because this is starting to get pretty annoying. It's going to be more difficult for him to pressure the matchup. Carry's getting very aggressive here. There's still no flash on nature, but it's up pretty soon. And they might just look to start up this dragon instead. Yeah, they have lots of members in the river. They also have Talia, who can always wall off the dragon if needed. They're definitely considering it. Yeah, okay, so they're pulling it out and they're going to start it. Impunity, do you look to contest this? I feel like probably not. Your bot lane definitely can't get here in time and you're a lot weaker. And I think also just making sure mid lane is isolated 1v1 at the moment is probably better off. Infernal Dragon going over though is a little annoying to give up. But now that you do have an advantage in that top side, perhaps can play for the Heralds instead and have that as your window to get back in the game.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see them actually look to try and play for that one. I feel like this bot lane right now doesn't exist. It's not a point of power whatsoever. They have to sacrifice this Drake, even if they wanted to. It's not possible. So I would love to see them utilize their CS advantages in both top and mid to say that, hey, you know, Alex, let's make a play towards this Herald. And let's get some more turret plate gold. Let's look to try and open up this map and make sure that we are not only up in CS, but up in items, up in kills.
Yeah, and I think as we were saying, kind of Mission and Driver, the two carries of this team right now, they're both doing well, have CS leads in both their lanes. Actually getting plates top as well. Driver's feeling pretty good, and Alex is now on the Herald. Can Fear trade anything on the bot side? I'd be surprised. Atlan and Nature are very healthy here. Could potentially get dive though. I mean, they have all sums. I feel like if they can't get Calumnia's Talia to come down here, it might be a bit too hard in the 3v2. There's no Pike ult.
Yeah, going to be completely zoned away from the wave. Flash away instantly there from Nature, but still sticks around and gives them an avenue to go for the kill. A flash chain of corruption, and YJ, well, I mean, he wanted the kill, and he absolutely guaranteed it. Double flash in the bot lane, and now that's a wave crashing with plates found.
I think Impunity might have been better off staying under the tower. You had 4 sums and the ability to outplay. You know, as long as you can flash the Sedge ult and the Pike hook, I think you should be able to survive that, but ultimately decide to leave their tower and leave safety and then just get run down. So there is a successful trade for the Baron. Now this Herald, I would like to see it go top. I think just put it towards Driver, who's already taken 2 plates top. Can perhaps get even more gold for them. I feel like salvaging bot lane at this point is pretty unrealistic. On the other hand though, we could see it go mid. We've seen a lot of Heralds just drop mid to secure kind of the second Herald, breaking the mid tower, and therefore opening up the map. Mission is just freezing this wave and has built himself up a nice CS lead, you know, despite all the pressure that's been put on him. Very nice play out of him.
I'm just waiting for that first flash. It's going to be majestic. It's going to be the most insane play you'll ever see. If it's a flounder, it'll be very sad because the first 10 minutes, I mean, with all the pressure, as you say, he's received, not having to use that, not having die, but still being up by 20 CS is a huge testament.
Yeah, he's playing very, very well. This perhaps it could be round 3, because he's not going to go for it too much. Now, Mission is pretty low on mana, but does have the TP soon. Probably one more wave, and then we'll look for the reset. Here's, he's in the area around bot lane again. No sums on this bot lane, but Alex is in the area and has the Herald. So if anything goes bad here, it will be a big punish after. Just waiting in the wings.
And you have to smell that something looks a little bit suspicious. Why would Impunity's bot lane be getting aggressive? Yeah, chucks up the blind hook and goes up. I understand what's happening here.
Yep, so it looks like this wave will just be crashed. Although I think S9 could probably freeze that wave if they wanted. Some trade coming out top. Borrelia is getting pretty low. Actually, the Negatron cloak picked up for Driver. So very good against the triple AP topside here.
They're going to be very hard to kill, right? Another game where, you know, Jax can itemize quite easily into Magic Resist, but still not lose out on much damage, right? You get Divine Sunder, you're sitting pretty much pretty with that in isolation. So it can be very hard for Relia to, you know, try and find those winning trades, but I don't think he's going to be too concerned. He just needs to play passively, because look, you just play towards this bot side. They seem to be the winning factor. Lightning Crash active. Atlan putting the dash already, and that means he's in a lot of trouble. Going to fall on down. Ashe ult comes on through. Can they find one? No! Fire! Yes, they can. Spoke too soon, and Alex is there to confirm it. So it's a 1-for-1 so far. Mission. Will he go for the shockwave? Of course he will. And he'll get a shutdown for his great attempt.
Oh, actually one traded back by Calumny at the end. He has flash.
Surely they find a second. He's going to run him down with auto attacks. The turret is fully ramped up. Mission. One command dissonance, and that's all she wrote.
Well, Mission now very, very far ahead. Killed Calumny, also secured the shutdown on YJY. I'd love to see the gold now between the two mids, because Mission is so far ahead. And I also think at the start of that, Alan played that pretty well. Let's have a look at the replay. I think he might have cleansed too early. Let's have a look. So he's on the tower getting dived by 4 people. Definitely a tall order, but dodges the hook and then manages to get, you know, pretty far back to where people have to overcommit for him. Ashe ult comes down in fear. He almost lives on, you know, very low health. Does end up going down to the red buff. And Mission comes in later, and initially this looks like it should just be the kill under the flashless Varus. YJY, he goes down. But Calumnia, he decides he wants to try trade something onto Alex at the back end, but commits a little too hard. Perhaps if he'd flashed the W at the start, would have actually got out, but instead it's a bit too late, and uses Zhonya's as well. So overall, definitely not too worth it for Calumnia.
And that's a player, that's an Orianna player right there that knows their numbers, knows what they can tank, and knows what they can get away with. A tower fully aggroed, ready to go. Wasn't going to care about that one whatsoever. So, 2 kills to their name now. Only bounty in the game as well. Herald was also used in mid as the second Drake of the game spawns. Wards go down, but it is S9 that had the first. But it's Impunity that are fighting to get one of their own. Chain of Corruption barely misses, but a 2-man shockwave starts it off. Lightning Crash again. The tail end of the Cyclone kills Fire for the second time in a row now. And, well, we are now playing for a Chemtech Soul.
Yeah, and Impunity really starting to pull ahead in these skirmishes. Once again, Calumnia goes down, and Mission will be able to crash this wave and perhaps take some plates as well. Gold difference has been really up and down, an actual roller coaster. But now, really starting to kind of solidify in Impunity's favor. Ooh, Nature actually will get picked off again. At this point, that's just kind of a given, I feel like, for him. He has been picked off a lot. But yeah, Mission now getting extremely strong. Again, I really want to see the gold difference between the mid laners, because he's taking so many plates mid. And Driver as well is really building himself up a pretty nice lead in the 1v1.
Absolutely must be so far ahead. I mean, you got 7 plates already picked up by Impunity versus the 2. I mean, that alone is a full 1,000 gold lead. And yeah, up by 3k at this point. It really is the 2 stars of the show. The top lane and the mid lane getting it all done. Let's run it back with this replay one more time. It's just really as simple as recalling on vision.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. You just don't quite check the ward or the bush. Get sniped down. The first tower goes down on top. Definitely a nice win for Driver. I have to feel like the Impunity solo lanes are in such a good spot, and I think Atlan as well, you know, despite all the pressure that's gone towards bot, does end up 2-1-2, which is actually pretty decent, right? You're expecting him to kind of be a non-factor in this game.
Yeah.
After all that early pressure, but is actually doing just fine. There's another 4 people bot. He's wisely backing away. And S9W, I mean, they're falling pretty far behind. And I think they do get outscaled. So they are going to have to kind of put the pressure on here. Try and do something while they still can. Impunity going to pick up another Herald, which will probably result in the mid tower going down. And Driver now is much harder to dive. Feels like even in the 1v3, it's probably not really possible, although...
No, surely he goes for this. Of course he goes for this. He got all the plates, he got all the gold. He's keen to take a 1v3. Yeah, hit me with some damage. He doesn't care. He'll still attack the minions underneath your face. And is still keen. Still forcing them back. He dropped the bot lane of S9 down to 10%. Mission underneath the tower. Finally has to use that flash, but he can't escape the grasp of that perfect execution.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened to Mission there if he got flung on the tower, but Driver, he tries to go for something but can't quite cover the distance. That's tragic. I respect the attempt though.
Look, that's one of those things where you really wish the camera wasn't panned towards bot lane. He's tried to go for a flash leap, I think just out of range, and then it's expired.
Yeah, now this mid tower will still go down. So Impunity, it's still not the worst for them, but I do think losing both your solo laners here, especially because Mission had a shutdown, and it now goes on to Rel here, which gives him, you know, kind of closes that gap between him and Driver's Jax. So it's a pretty important pickup. Dragon's in 2 more minutes, and I feel like Impunity are already scaled up enough to fight it. At the same time, though, Rel here, as well as YJY, very, very strong here. You know, have big items completed. I guess, yeah, let's take a look at the mid replay. I feel like Mission must have gotten shoved under tower, or maybe just got... Yeah, okay, so got shoved under the tower with the tower aggro. Probably should have flashed, or I guess he flashed as early as he could. And Rel here just comes in, cleans him up, and Driver... Oh, do we really have to show it in the replay? I feel bad for the man. He almost can close the distance, but with the heal, can't quite. And I think I'm not even sure how worth that would have been. It feels like it would have just been a 1-for-1 anyway, and the tower still goes down.
Yeah, I feel like that's one of those moments where you feel as if you had an epiphany. It feels like it's fate. You must get this kill at all costs, and ultimately you've fallen flat on your face. And that's going to undo a lot of the good work that these 2 solo laners for Impunity have managed to find, right? Mission and Driver. So it's not changed the tune of the game too much, however. They are still firmly in the hot seat with the gold lead, despite there being an even 7 kills shared between both teams. But that's another turret falling on down. That's Impunity actually getting the first 3.
Yeah, so that tower ends up going down. Pretty nice gold lead here for Impunity. And Dragon's in 30 seconds as well, and they have a lot of control.
Oh, look at that shot. That's a massive stun. Oh, and the Cyclone afterwards. Shockwave delivery system. Yes, please. Pyke can't escape. His ult does nothing. Atlan. Oh, he's just going to fall victim to the lightning himself. Crashing on down as Relia now looking for it. Can he find the right one? He can. And he's got a second charge to try and find another. But ultimately, he's going to have to sacrifice it with the shuriken, and he can't connect, and now he's tilted. Driver comes in to try and play cleanup crew. A messy fight, but a bunch of kills.
Yeah, messy fight from both sides there. I think Atlan really got a bit too greedy and tried to chase it down, which almost resulted in disaster. But I think Rel here perhaps wasn't confident enough at the end. You know, ended up missing a lot of skill shots and playing it a bit too slowly, which gave time for Driver to come down to the fight. And Driver as well, look at his itemization. He's a very magically resistant unit. Let's take a look at the replay. So it starts off with, I think, a great engage from Impunity. You know, a lot of damage goes over onto these 2 targets. And it's looking really good, right? You get a lot of kills for free. Alex kind of gets shoved into the backline as well, which feels good. Atlan, though, he does get 1, but when he's actually flashing in here, perhaps a bit too aggressive. And then Rel here, I think, probably could have gotten at least 2 kills here, but the first E misses, holds the R for a long time, you know, just to guarantee the kill. And then as well, misses another E onto Nature, so, you know, small mistakes, but it definitely adds up. Oh, if he had a little bit more damage.
I mean, yeah, 5-point strike would have been enough, but ultimately tried to hit him with the full swagger step and unable to connect with his E ability afterwards, so does feel pretty bad. But what is firm to see is that YJY is the only player, the only beacon of hope so far in this game for S9, firmly at the top of the table there with 9k gold. It's 5-1.
Yeah, massive lead here for YJY, but at the same time, the rest of his team really struggling to find, you know, relevant items in this game, right? They're slowly just falling behind. And also, another thing I want to bring up, Rel here forced to go for the Void Staff second on Akali, which you have to feel is necessary in this game with so much magic resist. But that also means, you know, you can't go to Zhonya second. You're going to be very flimsy in these fights. It's hard to... Oh, okay, we see Columnia come in with the TP mission. He has the flash, but is perhaps caught out of position.
Yeah, how does he get out of this one? So, flashes away from the Glacial Prison. Can he get hit back? No. Turns it around!
Oh.
The arrow's so close! But just a fraction wide. The next command attack isn't there. Alex comes swinging into life and bonks him on the head. And now Fear is far too overextended. And Mission, as juicy of a target as he was, the boys are there to back him up.
Yeah, and I think S9 probably could have got that kill. I felt like they layered their CC too much. I think it should be that Oriana has to flash the Talia W or the Sedge ult, but both of them were thrown out at the same time, and so Mission is just able to flash, and then there's no more threat left onto him. I think the game, it's starting to get away from S9 now, down 6,000 gold, and Impunity, I think they have the better scaling composition. Is looking better now. Alan actually goes for the BT second on the Zarya again. So not the first time we've seen this today. I guess just against the poke, just making sure you're permanently topped off.
I think it's to allow more than anything from what I've seen of Atlan to just dive towers, flash onto tanks and say, I will kill you at any cost possible. So seems to be the hot new flavor of the month, right? The build that seems to be allowing him to go super crazy, but you do trade off a lot of damage as a result, especially with, you know, multiple AD carries now investing in Navori Quickblades instead.
Yeah, now Impunity, they're posturing around mid. They do have very good Baron DPS, so could look to do it. But again, starting up against a fed Varus is difficult. If you ever get caught on it, you're going to get poked and chased down and potentially end up giving it over. Keris is in the area and honestly has had a pretty good game, but the top side just really isn't, you know, matching. Now, Baron's actually started, as we said, a lot of DPS, and they also have a lot of lifesteal, so can always just tank this up. At the same time, actually, YJY is far away. They're not going to have the Poke Varus anywhere nearby.
Yeah, Calumnia's a world away as well. He's holding his Weaver's Wall to the very last moment. Instantly, Impunity switch off the Baron. It was a bait, and it's Fear that they pick of all people. Now S9 have no smite. They have no contest. So Impunity right back towards that Baron. Relia does not hit the Shuriken. Erez on the flank, hunting with the Scryers active. In comes Calumnia. Realizes it's down to 50%. In jumps Relia for whatever reason, we'll never quite know. He tried to 1v5, and the Baron just continues to say, come at me. Can Calumnia steal it? He's gonna try, and he's done it! Unbelievable. Who cares about smite?
Yeah, I guess he had... Oh, and Nature actually gets picked off at the end of that as well. Massive steal there out of Calumnia. I think that might have been the second time he's done that, by the way. I'm trying to remember, but someone stole Baron with a smite on a Talia with Spellbook, and I think Calumnia has just, you know, done it again.
Wow.
That really closes the gold lead. I mean, it was what, a 6k difference. You know, now it goes down a little bit. So let's have a look at this. I mean, Fear, he goes in quite early, and a lot of tools come out from Impunity to secure the kill onto him. You have to feel like after this, Impunity, they have enough control that they should be able to prevent any sort of steal. Now, Relia, he definitely went in a little too early. You know, there's not really any follow-up for this. And again, without the Zhonya's, just pretty much immediately explodes. But look at Calumnia off the backside. I feel like someone should go over the wall, probably Driver.
For sure.
But once the Talia E comes down, you know, obviously can't jump over and just comes in, manages to pick it up. And also, what happened to Nature at the back? I don't even know. This replay was so long. Okay, so he just tried to walk up, gets taken out. Also, I think the Pike ult got the goal. Yeah. Nice. Okay, so...
Wow.
S9 with the Baron are able to stall this game out. I'm not actually sure if that will turn it around. I feel like they're still in a pretty tough position, but it definitely buys them time. And if Impunity continue to make mistakes, potentially can allow them back into this game.
Yeah, and I think just Calumnia just refuses to lose. I mean, you can see from the damage graph there, he didn't do any. 200 to his name, but that wasn't his purpose in that fight, right? It was the fact that he was unpunished, untargeted across the wall. And you will see a lot of the topper teams, a lot of the better teams in the region, they will send somebody across the wall, you know, destroy the blast cone, destroy any kind of potential flank opportunity, and not be presented with a situation like that. So, well done by C9, or S9 rather.
And with the Baron, can they get this one tower? I think they can, but I think Impunity probably still wants to fight. They are pretty pushed up. The Talia wall, smart from Calumnia to cut off any sort of engage here. Impunity, though, they are knocking on that soul. They have 3 dragons to their name.
Oh, do they catch out a rogue Wukong?
A little bit of damage. Trade it back. Driver's actually pushing very aggressive in the top side, and currently no one's answering him. And it has a massive lead over his lane opponent here. The goal difference, I mean, it remains in Impunity's favor, but at least for now has been brought down a little. Driver not feeling the 1v3 this time.
No, he's. I think he's learned his lesson from that attempt earlier on in this game, right? So he's going to show some restraint, go back to the safety of his side of the map. But ultimately, I mean, it's still a game where Impunity hold the lead, right? As you saw from that goal graph. So I don't think they can be too disheartened by how things played out there. S9, no doubt, will be feeling that, well, we've just denied the Baron, so the push of, you know, further giving them a lead for the side of Impunity has been dissuaded, but it is still them making the moves.
And this red is being pressured. I wonder if we'll see a fight occur here. They're kind of posturing for it, but no one's quite committed to the engage. There's a lot of sums up.
That was close.
Yeah. Now, Dragon's not for another 3 minutes, but Mission's still getting very aggressive here. Going to face check bushes. On the side with a flank, and he has the ult.
Yeah, Mission teeing this one up quite nicely. Has the protection of the Banshee's Veil, but also has Flash in case it is necessary. The piercing arrow just slightly short. But that Banshee Veil still is protected for the meantime.
Yeah, they have control here. Mission, I guess the Banshee's popped. But that's going to be it. There's a lot of stuff you have to work through here as S9 to commit any engage. All sums are up on the side of Impunity, as well as the Banshees. There's just so many tools that you have to kind of eliminate before you can actually get some successful engage. And both the side lanes now going very in the favor of Impunity. 60 CS lead top, 60 CS lead mid.
That's really been the story of the game, though, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, the Impunity solo lane is definitely doing well for themselves this game. And honestly, credit to Atlan, despite the fact that a lot of pressure was put on him early, has ended up in a pretty strong position. 2 minutes 30 on this drag, which will probably be... I feel like Impunity will end up getting it, but we'll see. S9, I think they'll have to fight it. And I think it's quite hard for... Ooh, the Ash ult comes through. I think it's quite hard, even though YJY is very fed, the poke isn't really going to stick. There's just so much lifesteal now. I feel like you have to try get it onto Mission, but also has the Banshees.
In we go. Relia looking for a moment to strike right now. Nature just gone. Never stood a chance. Oh, the flash goes out. The flash to follow. As he's hiding in the shroud right now. Where can I be? Well, it doesn't matter for an Oriana. We'll just dissonance on the spot. And we'll take you down just like that. Next Baron up in 45 seconds, but a soul point also is there for Impunity to look forward to in the next minute 30.
Okay, so we're seeing an engage on mid.
Certainly are. Seismic shove, chucks them back. Alex still hot in pursuit right now, looking for fear. In jumps Driver, two-man stun. Atlan somehow has found the Pike in the top side of the river, so was fighting on two separate fronts right now. It's an extended trade at just that. Calumnia completely zoned away, but YJY at least takes one down to the grave with him. And in Fear, well, it's a lonely Sejuani, but it's an ace and a perfect one with Baron spawning now.
Yeah, and I think Impunity after that, you feel like they should be able to get Baron as well as the fourth dragon. So massive win for them, and I think that's really S9's hopes kind of taken away from this game. I'm not sure what happened to Carriers. I feel like Atlan just kind of face-checked him on the side, and Atlan just ended up solo killing him and chasing him down. And then on the rest of the fight, Driver, I mean, he found that fantastic engage for them, and then Mission as well, just dealing so much damage the whole time. This is kind of what we expect, I think, a bit more from Impunity, right? Not just the Mission show, all of them kind of having a good game. I think Alex took that blue, by the way.
Sneaky.
30 seconds left on this fourth drag. I think if you're S9, this is kind of your last ditch attempt, but let's see the replay. This is the initial Ash ult which comes in. I think, yeah, we kind of didn't see too much happen off the back end of that. Now, this all started out with Rel here. He goes for the kill onto Nature, but I feel like a 1-for-1 onto the support, not super worth it. Although he did admittedly get Alex's flash, which wasn't... You know, it's not like you got nothing for this, but perhaps not worth it.
We're back into it. Here we go, looking for a fight once again, and it is the jungler removed nice and early there from the side of S9. It's perfect timing, really. This last few moments of play have really favored Impunity to pick up the Baron, to now get themselves the Chemtech Soul as well. And surely you're finding all the tools you require to close out this game, because they're getting closer and closer to the magical 10k gold lead.
Yeah, and actually pretty nice damage across the board, so... You know, not really one standing out above the others. Impunity, though, Chemtech Soul, Dragon, and a massive gold lead. I feel like they should be able to end with this one if they really want to push it. If they can find any sort of kill or pick, it will probably be enough. At least 2 inhibs.
Yeah, two waves are synced up. Mid and bot is the play right now, as Impunity actually pulled two to the bot lane for just a second to try and really force their hand. Baron-inspired cannon doing its best as another wave now finally arrives in the mid lane. Mission is dangerously low. Another arrow, and that is a removed Orianna. You're expecting a fight to break out. The Slice of the Shot doesn't connect. The arrow, though, onto a fading away Fear once again. Always seems to be the first one to fall. You need him alive. Driver jumps into the back line, pouncing into life to find a kill of his own. But it is to be answered back by Relia, once again taking another person to the afterlife with them. You want two inhibitors, they'll have to settle for one for the meantime, as they now consider, do we rotate to bot lane or not?
I think they will just go for base. It's a bit too low here, and without TP on driver or mission, there's no way to really get back here and keep pressuring. So not too bad to get the inhib, but I felt like YJY really saved the game there. Hit so many crucial arrows and just did so much damage before the fight even started. It's kind of a shame that S9 is just so far behind that they can't really capitalize off it. At the same time, though, Atlan, I felt like somehow he ended up in the middle of the enemy team again. I think the man just flashes forward every time it's up. You know, we have Mission who doesn't use this flash, and Atlan who uses this flash way too much.
They need to swap keyboards, or swap bindings.
Yeah, that could be it.
Something needs to happen there, because you got a Zeri that's getting far too excited. Perhaps, you know, I watched too many videos of the Zeris, a few patches ago. I mean, I remember, you know, when we saw in LCK and all the other major regions, it was almost boring, because pentakills were just happening too often.
Yeah, sounds weird to say, right? Feels like it never would get boring, but eventually it does. Now, will they keep sieging? Baron's not up for another 3 minutes, and Elder's in 4. Now that arrow comes through. Damn, that skin's really cool, by the way.
It's good, eh? Is it the Cosmic one, I believe?
I think it's, no, I don't think it is. I think it's Ever Elderwood or something, maybe. But anyway, back to the game.
It looks cool. That's all that matters.
It does. So sieging on top, we have the top and the mid wave pushing. They might look for another engage here, but the problem is the wave dies so fast. I think you're just kind of looking to maintain control of this top side for the Baron in 2 more minutes. A lot of control.
And how do S9 leave their base? That is my major question right now, because they are being completely strangleholded in here, forced to say you have to answer waves, but they want to fight, and they have a very strong Varus, which has really been their beacon of hope all game long, but a very isolated hope, and honestly is not really going to find success once again, because this team continues to get picked apart. They tried to force their way out of the base, but I mean, Impunity welcomed them with open arms.
Yeah, now that pick, I'm not sure if it actually leads into anything. It is obviously a nice kill on Keras, but it doesn't look like there'll be any follow-up. Atlan versus Relhia here. That was just sidestep him completely. And a lot of magic resist here on the side of Impunity. Actually so much, especially on that top side. 1:20 on the Baron and 2:30 on the Elder. I think Impunity, as long as they play it out sort of slow and methodically, should just pick up the win pretty soon. Same time though, they're looking to push that advantage even further. They're at the 10k gold lead.
Certainly are. Knocking on the door once again, looking to try and find another lane to break right open. Oh, the hook just short as they tried to grab somebody into their waiting arms, but not to be the case. Baron is there to play towards, as you mentioned, in the next 40 seconds, but Impunity is all about just crashing waves, keeping S9 on the base, or in the base rather, but on the map for them to see, know their movements, track their ideas, and guarantee that they can close this one out.
Yeah, now, there's a lot of control here for Impunity, but they have just reset, and I think it's pretty hard for S9 to really regain this control. It just takes them so long to push out of their base. Perhaps we'll just look to send 5 people mid and look to ARAM for the mid wave. Atlan actually goes for the Infinity Edge and not the Navori, but it's now completed and should be very strong. Has his sums. Flash will be up soon.
You know what that means.
Yeah, for better or worse.
Get ready to start hearing music as he starts to find a moment to strike, but here is that Baron. It was a waiting game. The waves have been pushed, the movements have been seen, and the second Baron is calling for them to be claimed. It's actually Driver completely alone in what is now going to be a 1v5. What can you do here, Driver? You've now got a Baron buff. Can you find at least one? He's flashing. He's still alive! They missed the Glacial Prison!
Oh.
The Counter-Strike! Don't tell me, Shock! Don't tell me he lives on a 1v5! Keras can't kill him! Counter-Strike number 2!
No.
He gets the kill! What is happening? finally falls on down, but that is unreal, and Driver MVP for that alone.
Yeah, Driver, what a beast, man. He tanks up 5 people for so very long and trades 1 back. And I think we got Alex here stopping the recalls, and that'll probably be it. I think if he can just keep canceling them, kills 1 as well. I think Impunity will actually be able to end this without even picking up the Elder at all. I mean, a lot of damage on the mission, though.
Oof. That's got my heart racing, I tell you that much. What a way to close out this game here. One final dance, perhaps. YJY chucks out an arrow, receives 1 right back. Atlan flashes in. We knew it was going to happen. And he hits the damage. Oh, seismic shove in. But he gets himself out of harm's way. And that will be the Nexus exploding. And that will be Impunity disrupting the perfect win there for S9. They were hoping for 3 on the bounce. It wasn't to be the case. And it will be Impunity once again finding their way up the standings.
Yeah, what an exciting game though, especially at the end there. Can't talk enough about Driver's play. You can see him on screen. Looks happy as can be. Probably talking the play over with his teammates right now. Yeah, I mean, that was insane. He actually bought so much time for his team. Yeah, I mean, I would be hyped too. That was awesome. Yeah, nice play by him. I wonder if he will get the MVP just for that.
Look, that could be some recency bias talking, but I tell you what, it's not often you get yourself a situation in a 1v5 outside of solo queue to flex your ability, have the camera just progressively get more and more zoomed in, like, is this really happening?
Yeah, and he traded back a kill as well. That was what was so insane. And I mean, Driver, both the solo laners of Impunity, they did very well, right? We talked about how Mission, probably the primary carry normally for this team, but Driver has kind of shown that as well.
Yeah.
And this game, right, you really saw